Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to talk about the challenges of the cloud, Amazon, Microsoft, other cloud environments, and how we've architected things to protect your data and how we can help you protect your own data in the cloud architecture as well. Next slide. So this is going to be a short overview. We can do a longer presentation on request. We'll talk about the AWS, and it's really any cloud hosting provider challenge. And then we'll talk about how we build a more secure and efficient environment. Next slide. So the challenge of all these cloud providers is that they have what they call a shared responsibility model. And that's really a euphemism for they're not responsible for very much of anything, and you're responsible for most of everything, only they don't really tell you that. What Amazon or Microsoft or anybody else is responsible for is the security of the cloud. They make sure their data centers are secure. They make sure their employees are secure and trained, know what they're supposed to do. What your responsibility is to protect everything that's in the cloud. That's something they don't really make clear. That's one of the reasons why we see all these cloud breaches. Next slide, please. So here's what Amazon's responsible for. They're responsible for protecting their infrastructure, their data center, their servers, their network, all the services that run in the cloud, make sure that they're up and available. But they don't even guarantee that those services will be available 100% of the time. They give you the option of configuring things in such a way that you can make them more highly available, but that's up to you. The second thing is, they're responsible for the hardware, the software, the facilities, all those things. That's all they're responsible for. Next slide. If we look at the list of what you're responsible for your data, and oh yeah, by the way, making sure that it's backed up. You're responsible for making sure the operating systems are patched, and actually even installing and picking an operating system. You're responsible for making sure that the network is configured right, that there are no security holes, and the firewall, that you even have a firewall turned on and that is configured. You're obviously also responsible for what happens on the client side of things, so that's outside of their environment. You're responsible for encryption. Things are not encrypted by default on the server side. And you're also responsible for what rights you give to your users. That's what's called identity and access management. So as you look at that list, you say, well, why the heck did I go off and get in the cloud anyway? Because I'm still doing all this stuff. What they've done is given you a very robust set of tools. But just like tools, if I gave you a really great toolbox, that doesn't make you an auto mechanic. It gives you the tools to go do that. And that's one of the things they don't really talk about very much. You have to be the expert in the sense of configuring it. And what we've done for us, for our Amazon environment, is we've configured it in a way that is secure as can be. Now, nothing is bulletproof. Everything is only bullet resistant, but we've made it very, very secure. The idea is that if it's hard for an attacker to go off and compromise our environment, your environment, then they'll go someplace else. And that's pretty much, unless you have a really determined hacker who is strongly motivated to get into your environment, which is maybe 1/100th of 1% of the attacks, then they'll just move on. They'll go off and rattle the doorknob on the front door. They'll check the windows, and if that doesn't work, they'll just go to the next site. So what we've done is we've built this environment so that you can do it, and we've done it for us, and we can do it for you. What we've seen is most of the people who move stuff to the cloud take the same insecure architecture that they had in their own data center, which was much more protected because it wasn't in the cloud, and they've moved that to the cloud. And when they do that, it's still unsecure. So you've really got to think that through. Next slide.
So something to throw in here is that the reason that we're even having this conversation right now is that TCPS, we collect a very small amount of sensitive data. If you're going to ask us, if you're going to take our recommendation wizard and go through we're going to ask you some basic, do you have a cybersecurity program? Do you have a privacy program? What size is your company? And then at the end, if you want us to send the report, we're going to ask you for your email address. So with your email address and the few facts, do you have a cybersecurity program, which by the way, 99.9% of people, companies in the world don't, but nonetheless, it's somewhat sensitive. Once we knew we were taking that information, we knew as a cybersecurity company, we had to protect that information. We just couldn't drop it into a database that was being hosted at GoDaddy or something. We had to do it the right way. So we got an AWS architect and architected a secure solution. Now, nothing's 100%, but let me tell you, this has been done right and done correctly so that the information we're collecting about you, we are very confident to tell you it has been secured as a cybersecurity company talking to you right now.
And it's much more likely that you have a lot more information than we have inside of your cloud environment.
Yeah.
And probably that information. Now, remember, everybody worries about credit cards, but credit cards are not really a big deal because what happens when your credit card gets hacked? Yeah, it's a pain in the neck and you have to call the credit card company and they have to give you a new credit card and then you move on. You go on about your day. If the hacker breaks into your company and they steal all of your intellectual property, how do you put that genie back in the bottle? You can't do that. It's much harder. Or if you have a breach and you breach your customer's trust as well as their information, getting that genie back in the bottle is very hard too. So the objective is configure this in such a way that you don't have to be in that situation. You don't have to deal with that. So we start by looking at the IT infrastructure and doing a risk assessment of that. Then we go off and architect a correct solution. Now, the solution that you may have had when it was sitting in your data center or sitting under somebody's desk in the office, that's probably not the right architecture. Then, if you want, we can stop there. Alternatively, we can help you implement that as a turnkey solution so that you don't have to do that because for a lot of small and medium-sized businesses, they don't have the expertise and they don't have the resources. And finally, if you want, we'll even maintain that solution on an ongoing basis. So you can take the first 2 steps, the first 3 steps, or all 4 steps, and we'll be happy to do any part of that for you. And we've done all 4 of those steps for ourselves.
So if you have more questions about it, want to learn more, contact us. This is a brief introduction to it, but we're happy to share more information to help you build a more professional and more secure cybersecurity solution for your own company.
Is there a slide with our contact information?
And we have a slide with a contact information.
There we go.
Right there. Here we go.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for taking time today.
Thanks.